Spain holds its tertiary general poll in 4 persons year on April 28, in a fight among the set parties, Catalonian and Basque nationalists, and a growing distant right. The period, yet, the election play has modified. Supporting for the early victor, the prudent human beings' side, Pages, has compressed among a corrupt practices fracas. Its major enemy, the socialistic side, has rocketed to the top of the polls following capturing the main secretary's job recent year. Podemos on the leftward and Ciudadanos, countrymen, on the order are vision their supporting drop, among a boomers for the contentious distant right Vox side. One latter survey showed nearly part of voters, 40%, had yet to do up their minds. View polls may not speak the complete history, especially in so lot indecisive voters. But the capacity outcomes for a by the government involve, but down there is a issue in every of these combinations. The Socialistic and Podemos Association of Main Secretary Pedro Sanchez, current by the government necessary the Basque and Catalonian nationalists to supporting it. The Pages, photodiode by Pablo Casado, and Ciudadanos, Albert Rivera, will perhaps requirement the supporting of Vox, but the is seen as hardly. Voters for Ciudadanos are substantially opposed to incoming by the government invoice. And Ciudadanos has as well openly told it will not shape a coalition in the Socialists. The Catalonian meltdown and the growth of Vox include modified the discussion in Spanish policy. The is not an poll on the economics, a various position of which we include seen in more than rather than 20 year, says Juan Rodriguez Teruel, Prof of Policy Scientific at the College of Valencia. In spite common concerns on joblessness, that remnant top in Spain compared to its Europe neighbors, it has hardly been debated by political community. Percent of busy people, this campaigning is departure to stay about sameness issues, and especially about the Catalonian question, it seems how the economics is no, any more than, the fully basic question, Professor Teruel says. Up the poll, Mr. Sanchez had been negotiations in Catalonian parties to supporting his budgeting. But those negotiations ruined downward among a social clearance above him meet them, partially stoked by voices ardent opposition to any acquiescence on autonomy. In spite the problems, Mr. Sanchez's period as lead has seen supporting for his side splash, at the charge of coalition affiliate Podemos. Meantime, a corrupt practices fracas comprising the Pages recent year overturned its lead and saw supporting sinker, outgoing lot of votes to struggle for amongst a fragmented order. The nationalist side has set by itself up in company opposition to the separatists, in spite Spain's black story in the far order by autocrat Francisco Franco. This growth of Vox is obviously an quake in Spanish policy, says Bonnie N. Box, Prof of Policy Scientific at Bentley College. Time precautionary versus exaggeration, the side successful. View polls propose it has about 10% supporting, time its lead Santiago Abascal has the minimum view ranking of any side lead. However, she says, Spain has lost of which policy scientists Sonia Alonso and Cristobal Rovira named no nation for the Narodnik drastic order to one wherever the far order could supporting, or less than potential, accede a order wing by the government. If the order is in achieve of a most following the general elections, things such may happen, Professor Box says. For Professor Manuel Arias Maldonado of the College of Malaga, Voices successful is partially downward to its knowledge of story, and receiving a low section. It should be marked how they do not screen publicly any Francoist image, he told. They are not manufacturing total mistakes. This big issue on the elections is how powerful will Vox be. Down there is the sense how they could exceed consumer expectations, in spite the polls. Yet the major cause why Vox exists is Catalonia. It is a response to the simplex exit try, how is wherever their force comes of. A three-party coalition of the order is seen as hardly. Professor Teruel warns how the splash for Vox is upcoming at the charge of some order-leaning parties, the Pages or Ciudadanos. And for the at first period with the 1970s, the order is really fragmented, thing how could gain opponents on the leftward. This major cause now to voice for the leftward-wing constituency is to escape the capacity coalition amongst order-wing parties, Professor Teruel says. Ciudadanos, meantime, could perhaps supporting a coalition in the Socialists, in spite openly dismissing the concept. I'm not certainly they could hold the stance if the numbers offer the capacity of a coalition, Professor Teruel says. This blood pressure on Ciudadanos will be really, really top.